Hi, my name is Brooke Littman.
And I'm Dr. Deb Littman.
And this is Wine Together,
a podcast where we drink some wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. Ching ching.
Ching ching Italian Primitivo today. Can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Love a Primitivo. You know, just hits the palate just right to me. Yeah, I love a deep red wine. So, what about you, Brooke?
Yeah, it's good.
That easy, huh? Just that easy. It's just that easy. Okay. Well, shout outs. I might as well, of course, Caroline Marcos, we appreciate you listening and supporting us. And Carlene, if you're listening, we appreciate you. Friends and family, we appreciate all of you guys. Anybody else, your castmates, I don't know if they're listening.
No, probably not.
Okay, we got to get them on board. Because here it is, showtime. Mm-hmm. It is showtime, so break a leg. Mm-hmm. And you guys do your best. It's so exciting. Yeah, okay. Well, I haven't tasted my wine yet. I guess I need to.
Yeah.
Show some maturity, huh?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I love a Primitivo. Mm-hmm. I remember, and every time I drink a Primitivo, every time I think about drinking a Primitivo, I think of that restaurant in Freiburg. Mm-hmm. And did you order pasta or a pizza?
Where?
When we
pizza?
did the puppet walk.
Yeah, I had a pizza because I had the egg in the middle, remember?
Oh, that was so unique. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, a pizza with an egg in the middle. And I'm sure it was Hawaii pizza because that's kind of your go-to. Pizza Hawaii.
No, it might not have been because it was something different.
Yeah. And so I ordered whatever pasta they had for the day. I don't even, I know it had pomodoro, red sauce. So, and we asked for a recommendation. And he said, you have to have the Primitivo. And we were so happy that he made such a good suggestion. And we've been buying different Primitivos since then. And we've tried so many. And we have not found one that we don't like. So, I guess it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So, it's exciting. Mm-hmm. So can't wait to tell all about the wine on our Instagram post. Mm-hmm. But, I did, I wanted some more serious topics here, here towards the end of the year. And, we were kind of going through and I thought, well, we should talk about what it means to be mature. And, I think that it's so hard to define that word. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, some cultures really just use that word for aging. Mm-hmm. And I think, honestly, the U.S. is the biggest culprit of that. Mm-hmm. So they just say, a mature woman they don't want to say she's old. But look, I'm not afraid to say I'm old. Okay. I mean, mm-hmm. I want to age, gracefully, but I also want to age having a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So is that graceful? I don't know. But mature, I just don't know. I can honestly say I probably am not a mature person.
I think emotionally, I don't think so.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I really cannot. Mm-hmm. I cannot claim that. So, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
How would you even define maturity? How would you define it?
I don't know. Being able to understand, listen and understand people without, getting upset or having everything having to be about you. Yeah. I don't want to offend you.
No, you should. I mean, no, because I know that that's true. I mean, I grew up with a mother, unfortunately, just like me. I remember having the same, or trying to have the same conversation with my mother when I was mm-hmm. probably younger than you. Mm-hmm. Trying to say, please let me make my mistakes. Mm-hmm. Please, because I knew I wasn't learning. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, in that household, I I don't think they wanted us to learn. So I can't say that it was high on the list of teaching us to be emotionally mature, teaching us to be mature at all, teaching us to be um, able to make it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know why. I mean, I didn't know then, obviously, but now I know why they did. They didn't want us leaving the fold
Mm-hmm.
because of the cult like situation we were in. Um, to say, they didn't want us, we weren't supposed to tell on the family. When the family did something wrong, we weren't supposed to
Mm-hmm.
tell. And so that fear that they had of somebody leaving the fold and getting the patriarch in trouble, I mean, that was a real fear for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, real. So, um, you know, so, yeah, I didn't. And what I learned was, guilt, because yeah, my mom used guilt a lot, and I remember Mason saying, you in high school, don't guilt me into this, and I was trying not to, but I didn't realize I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really not something I'm proud of,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously, and now I feel, obviously, feel like it's too late. I mean, one thing I have a list, of course. I always have a list for everything, but the list that I made for what I think about showing maturity is taking responsibility for your actions. And honestly, I'd like to think that I do that,
Mm-hmm. I mean,
but maybe y'all think I don't.
uh, no, I mean, sometimes it's like you don't pay attention to the things you say to us. So when we repeat back to you exactly what you said to us, you tell us that you did not say that.
Hmm. And
And you don't listen to us. We have to say it multiple times that yes, indeed, you did say that, and you keep saying and insisting that you didn't say that.
well, that's troublesome. I mean, and that's really bothering. Okay, I need to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what about demonstrating emotional stability and self control? Emotional stability, absolutely, I do not. I am
I was
not.
like, what do you want me to say
I
right
know,
now?
but self control. I feel like most of the time I do show self control.
Yeah.
I don't say. Trust me. There are many times I want to say, I hope he dies a terrible death. I am not speaking of anyone in my family, but some people out there might guess who I'm talking about. But anyway, I don't say things like that,
Mm-hmm.
even though I think it.
Yeah.
So I have self control with
Mm-hmm.
some words.
Mm-hmm.
But do I only have that self control because I'm afraid I'll get in trouble?
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty, like, that's being smart.
Is it? Is it? Because then, because, and I think it was so funny because I also grew up in a time, well, let me just go through the list, but I also want to say something. Showing empathy, showing respect for others, possessing patience, not always me. Being flexible, I do feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm flexible. I do feel like, there are a lot of things I want to do, I don't get to do. And so I just have to kind of, but anyway,
Yeah, but
self
you still
awareness.
complain about it.
I will complain, but,
Like,
also
but
how.
then you, again, you make it everyone else's problem.
I
Like,
think it's really just you. I do that too. I make it your problem. I don't do it. Trust me, other people. I'm afraid of what they'll act like, so I don't let them. So see, you're my safe person. Ability to maintain healthy boundaries. I absolutely cannot do that. No, no, no. Improving communication skills. Maybe I've worked on that, but only because of the education that I've had, not necessarily because I've felt the need to do it.
mm-hmm.
Being open minded. You ever think I'm open minded?
No.
Really? Okay, Jesus. Being willing to admit mistakes?
No.
Really?
You do not.
Okay. Showing resilience in the face of adversity?
I don't know.
But anyway, no, I don't want to sound like I'm defending myself because I
Yeah.
absolutely, there's no defense. I mean, either you're going to learn or you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
learn. But I don't know. I never had a teacher for that. And then here's the thing, you fall into that trap of you didn't have anybody to teach you. How are you going to teach your kids?
Mm-hmm.
So now am I, you know, did I have, 5 immature kids that are never going to, reach a level of maturity and emotional strength? And I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, it's also true that you can learn from the things your parents didn't do or
Absolutely.
like from what they could have done better.
Well, I thought so. I mean, I
Mhm.
really thought so. But, I'm hearing from you that evidently I didn't. Because I thought I had. And evidently I haven't. But I really thought
Yeah.
I had. So.
I think again it's about being more self-aware of what you're saying and how you're acting
Okay, see,
and
I don't
not
think that's fair that you say how someone's acting. Because you don't,
how
we don't
no,
know
how
what.
you are acting.
Okay, like, what do you mean?
So, like, okay, for example, when we go out to eat, you have a complaint about every single place we go because you think that they are messing up your order on purpose.
I don't think it's on
And you
purpose. No, no, no.
have a bad attitude towards certain people. Like, when we are getting served, if something is wrong with your meal, at the end of the meal, you start having a bad attitude towards everyone around the table and a little bit to the people working there. And that's not just words, like it's also in how you're like presenting yourself too, like how you are acting like physically.
Okay, I mean, I guess I don't see how y'all can see what I'm thinking or how because I'm trying not to say the words that I'm thinking. A
Hmm.
lot of times I'm trying to hold back the
Yeah,
words.
but it's not their fault.
Well, I mean, I think if people haven't done their job properly, it is their fault. But
Okay, but people make mistakes. And it
absolutely.
honestly, most of the time you don't actually there's not actually an issue. You make up an issue in your head.
Hmm.
Cause yeah, like I said before, and you don't believe me when I say this, you go into somewhere expecting something to go wrong, and then it goes wrong. You like you're the most self-fulfilling prophecy person I have ever met. Cause like you expect something to go wrong, so it does go wrong. And you can't expect that because then something's gonna go wrong. Yeah, you have to go in and be open minded and be prepared. Oh, maybe everything will be perfect. Oh, maybe it won't. Maybe something will happen. But also, who cares? Because you can't help that.
Yeah, I know, but I think my biggest thing is we're spending money on that meal, so it needs to be right. I think that's my issue.
Okay, but
If it weren't about the money,
yeah, but
I probably could not care.
if you nicely and not aggressively say, oh, actually, this is what I ordered, or like, oh, this was supposed to be like this, but sometimes you get like really snappy to the people that are serving your food. And it's like, well, you don't have to be snappy. They made a mistake, or someone in the kitchen made a mistake that, and maybe it's not their fault. Like, you don't know what's going on. Like, if it's super busy, or even if it's like super not busy, it's easy. Like, maybe they got someone else's mixed up, right?
Hmm.
So you can't, like, yeah.
I tell you, and this is really, I do know this about myself. I know you think I don't know it,
Hmm.
but I know this about myself,
Yeah, and you're
which
gonna be
is why
mad at
I
me
don't
the
like
rest of the
going out.
week.
No, I'm not. I. This is why I don't like going out
Okay.
because I know this about me, and and so it's just, and also, you know, I'm a good cook, and so when
Hmm.
I don't get good food, I think we paid money for this. Yeah, it just that bothers me. So
Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's not good.
well, that's true. That's true.
Hmm.
That's true. But it just it's kind of I don't know. I do have very high expectations,
Hmm.
and that is that is also something my generation
Hmm.
kind of was taught
Hmm.
was to always have high
I think
expectations
my
because people
generation.
can't. people can't know what they have to live up to
Yeah.
if they don't know what the
Yeah,
expectations are.
and I think it's okay to have high expectations. I think the problem is my generation was taught to have zero expectations because your generation and the generation before ruined everything for it.
Okay,
Not like everything. I mean like the housing market and the economy like have been really really bad because of inflation and because now people are working longer. It like into older years because they have to that now my generation is struggling with the things that was easy for your generation.
And it's so funny because you're starting to see that, especially in the U.S.
Yeah.
But Italy's been facing that shit for years. I mean, your age group, your generation in Italy, that unemployment rate is like 65%.
Yeah.
They have to leave the country to get a job.
Isn't it similar in Portugal also?
Oh, I have no idea. I only know because I knew someone in your age bracket from Italy that was living in Switzerland, and I had to do an interview for class, and so I wanted to talk about unemployment.
It's bad, yeah.
It's really really bad, and look, I mean, I can't get a job.
Yeah.
And I have credentials.
Yeah. See, that's the problem is they want people my age to have all of the experience and credentials someone your age would have, but also expect to be paid less than minimum wage. But they also don't want to hire exactly. But they don't want to hire. But they don't want to hire someone older because one, it's more expensive, and two, they'd be expecting a pension, right? But if you get someone my age, we're basically so excited to get a job that it's like you can do whatever the heck you want because, like, what? Who else is gonna offer us a job, right? Like that's where the problem is. But now, like it's become so tough to get any kind of job that there are people with like doctorate degrees that can't get anything other than retail. Right?
And a lot of times you can't get the retail jobs because a lot of people won't.
Because you're overqualified. But now, sir, even I think I saw something that was like requirements. It was like a master's degree, but the expected salary was minimum wage. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That no.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be expected of like, yeah, no. If you work that hard to get a degree, you shouldn't have to settle for.
I'll be honest with you. When I was growing up, it was just get a bachelor's degree, and you honestly doors were supposed to open for you.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to be able to climb the ladder, and that's just not the truth.
No.
And so then people go on to get a master's degree, and absolutely it works out for some people.
And that's why
there's also a group of people it doesn't work out for.
Yeah. And also why education has gotten so expensive is because it used to be easy to get an education and then also get a job right away and then immediately pay off a house. But now because so many people need to get a higher education, it's become so expensive because it can.
Well, education is not funded. I mean,
no, it's not funded. It's also, yeah,
and so, I mean, there's probably lots of reasons why. I mean, there are a lot. Think about 50 states, and within each state, there are so many different opportunities at different levels of education. And so a state can't necessarily help fund all of the institutions that are in that state. And that goes from, daycare up through college.
Yeah, but I mean, other countries make it work.
I know they do.
Education is free in Germany. Unless it's like an arts school, I think. Like if it's a private arts school, then but even those are still not that as expensive.
Exactly. And so you're right. It is a priority for other countries. It is not a priority. It is just not a priority where we're from. So, and that's it is quite disturbing. I guess is the easiest way to say it. However, us complaining about it is not going to fix it.
No.
And us stressing about it is not going to fix it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of different for you. Whereas I'm at the point where, like, I need a job.
Absolutely.
And I cannot get one.
Well, if y'all want us to ever get y'all birthday gifts, I need a job. Because we're living on one income, and it's not easy because y'all aren't self sufficient.
No,
Yes,
because
and so we're still using that one income
yeah.
to
I
help.
mean, think about the kinds of jobs that we're all able to get. And like, yeah, we didn't have the most like uh what's the word?
I don't know. I don't know what
Uh
you're thinking.
Traditional degrees, that's the word I was thinking of.
Right.
But I mean, these are still degrees that any degree should be able to get you a job. Because
Absolutely.
there's so many ways to work in these different fields
Mhm.
that it shouldn't be this impossible to get a job. Even when I keep doing like certifications and stuff.
Yeah. I tell you, it does not seem. I think for sure my generation, um, it was you do whatever job you get, you do. Like I don't care if it's scrubbing toilets, and I don't think um, I don't think there's a desperation like that, or I don't see a desperation like that within my own family.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't imagine you actually going out and cleaning public toilets.
Yeah, well, someone in this apartment does. He's so desperate he wants to ship me off to the army.
Oh, oh, oh! I think I missed. I thought you said cleans public toilets. I
No, no, no,
misunderstood.
no, no.
So
I mean, like in general, he's also desperate for me to get a job that he would expect me to do something like that.
well,
Because he
again,
thinks it's going to open a door to somewhere, and it's not. No, I'm going to be doing that for 20 years.
okay, and then that's where that part I agree with you. If you take a job like that, you're right. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
It's simply going to get you a paycheck, and you're
Yeah.
gonna hate yourself. You're gonna hate your job, and so I see why you don't take that job. But again, in my growing up, when I was younger, I would have taken anything.
Yeah.
And I would have taken that job.
Yeah.
And if it meant I stayed in it 25 years, then I stayed in
Yeah.
it 25 years.
I mean,
because it wouldn't have mattered to
yeah.
me.
But back then, like that job also you wouldn't have needed it because you did get a bachelor's degree.
Right.
You wouldn't have needed it for 25 years. But now, my generation, if you get a job like that, you are going to be stuck doing that for 20 because there's no other jobs that people will take you, and if that's your only experience, you're not going to get a job anywhere else even if you have a degree in that field and like internship experience in that field. If you are doing a job scrubbing toilets, you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life. And
Unless
then you could
know
also
somebody. So that's not true, because if you know somebody,
okay,
that's not true.
yeah, but a lot of it, think about it, most of my generation doesn't know someone that's going to help them like that, right? And here's the thing, with a job like that now, it's going to be automated, and so then you're gonna lose your job to a robot, and then you can't get another job.
And that's so funny because I hear that, but when I go into the public toilet and burn, there's still a little lady there cleaning.
It's for now, yeah.
So,
but I mean,
but they have changed. Like, you can't even put coins in the machine now. You have to use your phone, use a credit card, something. So she doesn't have that job where she can give you change for coins. So, so that is a shame right there. That digital. But and I get why. I mean, because it's any money that doesn't have to be out is a safety concern. And we don't, people will hurt other people for money.
Yeah.
And even here, unfortunately.
And there was something else I was gonna say about the job thing. Oh, like a reason a lot of people my age are turning to social media for work is because, I mean, depending on how good you are, I mean, it takes a lot, and you have to be really, really good, and probably already know someone and have some kind of status. But people are constantly trying to get started with being like an influencer or doing social media because it's pretty much the only job you can get without having to apply somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
and know that, like, oh yeah, I can do this from home, like while I'm trying to look for other jobs, this is something I can get started, right? And it's, you know, yeah.
And are we being mature about this conversation? Are we,
I
because it sounds
mean,
like we're not taking responsibility. And I trust
yeah.
me, I get what you're saying. But I'm just saying here, we started out saying, oh, do we take responsibility? And yet
Mhm.
here we are blaming, everything in the world
Mhm.
for not getting hired. So where do we draw the line? Like, how do we
I mean, there are
quit
some
complaining and,
things
and just, figure something out?
there are some things that it's not necessarily anyone's specific responsibility. I mean, I think we all have, oh sorry, that was the news. We all have like our own, we it's kind of on everyone, including ourselves, that like the economy is the way it is, and like we are struggling to find, jobs in anywhere really. But yeah, that's
I
really
think
tough.
also, and this is something I've complained about. I even complained about this when I defended my dissertation.
Mhm.
We do not, society at large
Mhm.
does not allow someone with a difference to succeed
Mhm.
unless that someone, unfortunately, unless something really bad happened to them,
Mhm.
um, unless then people will see, something bad happens, and they'll say, "Oh my goodness, this, you know, amazingly talented artist,
Mhm.
and what a shame such and such happened to them."
Mhm.
Then, of course, there's an opportunity for them.
Mhm.
But at, in general, someone with, a difference, and I'm thinking a lot of autistic people right now, jobs don't offer enough flexibility for someone with a neurodifference
Mhm.
to succeed.
Yeah, I mean that goes
Because
into.
society in general does not offer enough compassion, empathy for someone with a difference to them to
Mhm.
succeed.
I mean, in general, like corporations in general don't care about any of their workers.
Absolutely.
It's a lot harder for neurodivergent people like to hold down a job like that because it's tough for a neurotypical person
Mm-hmm.
to hold down something like that where you're expected to work 16 hours a day and no overtime pay, like no extra pay for working extra hours, and then also be available whenever they want for no extra pay. That's what they want, right? Like they want you to basically work for free for your entire for every hour of every day.
Yeah, but they can't do that. I
No,
mean, I
and
know
the
that's
only
what
reason
they
they can't,
want.
it's what they want. The reason they can't, but they push it so far to the edge of the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
line that we've had to create. And I saw something on Reddit that said the fact that there are labor laws tells you how effed up corporations are.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was going to say. There are laws, and that I know that a lot of people want certain people in political office because they think that person's going to kind of relax the
Mm-hmm.
laws. And I really hope that there's enough pushback that that doesn't happen. It just, yes, it is a shame. And, maybe at one time when tax laws were different, capitalism was okay. But now that,
Mm-hmm.
corporations can kind of basically buy a politician, individuals
Mm-hmm.
can buy a
And the
politician at
fact
this
that
point.
the fact that there are monopolies is also not okay.
Absolutely, and
That's
that
not
that
okay.
at one time there were, kind of laws that were actually enforced against it. Now
Mm-hmm.
things aren't. They find loopholes,
Yeah.
and I think that that's my issue is the whole loophole thing. There's a certain party that plays with words, and they'll say, "Oh, well, I didn't say that," even though you can tell by their actions that that's what they meant.
Mhm.
If they didn't say it, you can't prove it.
Mhm.
And so, and I just did that just at the beginning of this show. I said, well, I don't say anything, but you said, but oh, you can tell what you're thinking. And it's hard for me to accept that somebody thinks they can tell what I'm thinking.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, because I really am trying not to say mean things.
Mhm.
But you know, I guess if people think they can tell, they can tell.
Mhm.
But it's really, it's a shame that, um, yeah, I think we, I think we live in a world with immature people that
Mhm.
at the highest levels,
Yeah.
and um, I can't use the excuse of my childhood and my upbringing.
Mhm.
I'm just going to have to do better.
Mhm.
But I also need the people around me to be accountable to me and say, no, we talked about this. But I think my biggest issue is if you've said something to me once, you think that's enough. So sometimes you might have to say something to
I
me for the rest
say
of my life.
things to you a lot over and over, and it gets annoying.
Well, it might get
It's
annoying,
really
but
tough
if you
because
really
that's,
want me to
yeah,
learn,
but that's
you're going to
not
have to get through
fair.
it.
But that's not fair because at that point it seems like you're not even trying to learn.
Mm.
If I have to repeat the same thing over and over and over again, you are not trying to learn it.
I think that's unfair because maybe you know that my learning style is not through audio. I think that you need to, I mean, I do think that we need to learn how people learn
Then
and
you
say, hey,
also
you need
need
to write
to
this down.
then you also need to advocate and say, "Hey, I can't learn from you just saying this to me over and over again." And I show you how to do things and I still have to show you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I make you do it and I still have to keep doing the same thing. And that's what's not fair to me.
Yeah.
So that's also the taking a responsibility. You have to take responsibility for the fact that you can't learn it a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to learn it another way so that it doesn't have to be repeated over and over and over again.
Yeah. I think that, maybe you've repeated something twice and you're saying you've repeated it 10 times. And I think that I think that that's kind of a difference that we, because for you, if you have to repeat it more than once, you're like, okay, hey, I've already had to say
Yeah,
this
because I
once.
get busy.
Well, but that's, I mean, because we aren't, our household, you know, has more mature people in it. So we need to all be doing
Mm-hmm.
more
Yeah.
as opposed to just having, the expectation that somebody can do this
Mm-hmm.
and nobody else has to work on such and such.
Mm.
So I think that that's kind of hard. But I don't know. I think that there's also this crisis in the world of people with um, not just a lack of self awareness, but a lack of confidence. And a lot of that has been because, you know, maybe people weren't given chances to learn. Maybe people weren't given, and I have no idea. I don't know what everyone's story is. I think it would be nice if we did know, we did take the time to understand someone's story.
Mm-hmm.
But, we kind of joke sometimes and pretend we can guess what, you know,
Mm-hmm.
somebody does for a living or what their story is. And I can remember, because I never understood Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when your brothers were playing, and, this is, we're going on 10 years now, looking back. And one of your brothers would say to me, well, I don't know their backstory. And I would come up with this, every time. It was an evil, horrible backstory. And I remember him saying to me, you have such a dark
Mm-hmm.
way of thinking about people's past. And I tried thinking about that and I thought, I really do. I think everyone is out to hurt others. I really do believe that. I cannot look at someone in a crowd and say, oh, I bet they are just such a kind person. Even people that we hang out with, deep down, I think they're they're willing to hurt others to kind of get ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think that's become a problem. We had this conversation earlier
Mm-hmm.
about like me wanting to travel on my own.
Yeah.
And you say, "Oh, I want you to do that," but then when I suggest something that I can do, you're like, "No, it's too dangerous."
Okay. What have you suggested that I said was too dangerous?
Well, for one, anytime I say,
Well,
"Oh, I want to go
Spain,
out,"
absolutely.
well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, for one, when I say, "Oh, like, maybe I want to go out and get a drink by myself sometime," you're like, "No, absolutely not." Even though Switzerland is probably one of the safest places to
I don't say that. It's just like when we left a couple weeks ago, your dad and I left early because we'd had a few drinks and we were like, man, we got to get home. We're getting home. And I did say, are y'all okay? Do you mind making sure she gets on the bus?
Yeah.
That's what I said. But you know, I don't want. I guess my biggest fear is I don't want it to be something really bad happen to you for you to kind of learn your lesson, kind of thing.
Well,
So
what do you mean learn my lesson that I'm not allowed to go anywhere?
no, to learn your limit,
Oh,
your
well,
drinking
no,
limit.
but I know that and like I'm not dumb. I sometimes it feels like you're treating me like I'm a stupid little girl. That is the problem. That is the
That's.
big problem is that it feels like you still treat me like a stupid little girl.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. I really that's really not my intention. But I have a big fear. I have always had a fear of my daughters being hurt because you can't
Yeah, and that's the
trust
problem is that
men.
now like we can't go anywhere cuz you have always like said that and it just feels wrong to go
No, I
like
mean,
and do something because in the back of our head it's always like no you can't do that because you're going to get hurt and like this is going to happen, right? And so yeah, I think that's the biggest problem.
yeah. Well, I'm just gonna have to. I remember when Lydia was here. I kept trying to get Lydia just to kind of go somewhere. Just go somewhere by yourself. Just go down to the river. And like the day before she left, she finally went by herself down to the river. And it's just right here. I mean, we can walk there in 2 minutes. And so I said, you sure you'll know your way back? Yep. I said, it's just right there. Just go straight there and then come straight back. And evidently she really enjoyed herself because she was gone a long time. I told her, I said, can you like not go down the river, but like just find something to do outside? So we went and pumped the tires up on all the bags. Just to be outside, just in case. But anyway, he did see her coming back, and she recognized the building and stuff. But yeah, I do have. I mean, I don't. I guess I think, am I responsible? And I think that's what I need to learn is I'm not responsible for
No.
someone else's actions. But I don't want. God, I never want my kids to be hurt because of someone being mean.
Yeah, but that's also not
And I completely have no control over that.
that's not your fault. That's not in your control. And it's also not, it wouldn't be the person who got hurt's fault either. So,
Right.
you need to think about that. I think you come from a place of wanting to blame the person that got hurt because they weren't being safe. And I think that's also kind of a big
Well, because
problem.
I got
Because that's how you were raised.
absolutely not just that. Yeah, I'm the one that got blamed.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when it happened to someone else in the family, and I said, I told you this happened to me. Everyone that I said that to said, you never told me that.
Yeah. Well,
I did. And I asked you to go with me to the police. And they were like, I don't remember you saying that. So, I don't know. But that is so funny because I didn't want my fear to. And here I thought I'd done such a good job as a parent because I'll let your brother go to Costa Rica without me at 14 years old. Even though my family was saying, don't do that, don't let them go, don't let them go. I was like,
That's
no, they
it's such
want to
a
go,
good
and it's for the
experience.
school. And you
Mhm.
know, but, in fact, they did have a problem.
No,
Because they tried to get on the plane
no,
and
no.
just,
Oh, I thought you were talking about the sunburn.
oh, that just pisses me off. It's like, okay.
I shouldn't be laughing about that. This woman got back and was covered in sunburn.
It was horrendous. That was pretty horrendous. But I mean, and it wasn't just Ren.
Yeah,
There were
I
a couple
know.
in the group that
Yeah.
did take care, and
Mhm.
you know, but I think that uh, yes, I mean, I probably didn't breathe, even though we were dealing with a crisis of our own
Mhm.
at home during that time, which is another reason I couldn't breathe during
Mhm.
that time. But I think I did finally let out a deep sigh of
Mhm.
relief once they were home. I mean, I
Mhm.
remember going to the airport and thinking, okay, now I can breathe,
Mhm.
because the crisis at home had been, taken care of. Um, Ren was, at the airport, and
Mhm.
but that, I thought, that showed maturity on the part, but I guess it
Mhm.
wasn't quite enough.
Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to fix
I don't know.
it. I don't know that I can. I probably can't, but you know. Oh well, we gotta stop.
Mhm.
We've been on here too long. We
Mhm.
hope everybody's enjoyed the show.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Wine Together Pod. Join our Facebook group, Wine Together Podcast. And if you don't want to miss out on our regular weekly episodes along with all of our bonus content, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as liking, subscribing, and commenting on our YouTube, Wine Together Podcast.